Good evening, Jessica Harmson with ABC News. The State Parliament has relented and decided to release accommodation allowances paid to country MPs. Last night, an ABC investigation raised serious questions about whether senior Liberal Terry Stevens had been renting out his South Coast apartment while using it to claim the allowance. Today, he confirmed he's received tens of thousands of dollars in allowance, but insists he'd moved to a different apartment in Victor Harbor before his first one was rented out. Tonight, we can exclusively reveal the tax arrangements around Mr Stevens' $1 million Adelaide property, which raise further questions about where he really lives. Patrick Martin has the story with additional reporting by Nick Harmson.
No sign of Terry Stevens at his second address in suburban Norwood this morning, leaving it to Liberal colleagues to face questions about the Legislative Council President's expense claims.
Look, I don't know. I thought his place of residence was in Victor Harbor.
We've got rules for parliamentary allowances and all members should comply with them.
Well, I'm all for transparency. I've certainly done a radio interview this morning talking about my circumstances.
Last week, the Parliament repeatedly declined to release allowances paid to regional MPs. But that changed when an ABC investigation revealed evidence suggesting Terry Stevens' Victor Harbor apartment had been rented out during periods while he was registered to vote there from 2017 until its sale last year.
Stephen Marshall has the authority to simply pick up the phone, instruct the President and the Speaker to publicly release all of the information regarding the country member's allowance.
I didn't know that these documents weren't released automatically anyway, but I do support further transparency, and I do think it's great that both the Speaker and the President have agreed to the release of these country members' travel allowance information.
Those documents confirming Mr Stevens had claimed almost his full entitlement in the past 2 years, more than $60,000. Terry Stevens insisted he's done nothing wrong, saying he'd moved to a different apartment before it was rented out.
Since 2011, I have lived in an apartment in Victor Harbor. From 2010 to 2017, I lived in an apartment that I owned, and from 2017 to the current day, I live in an apartment in the same complex which I lease.
The ABC can confirm Mr Stevens and his wife remained enrolled to vote at that first apartment until after its sale in April last year. While he insists he moved to Victor in 2010 or 11, the Liberal MP's register lists a different property at suburban Stonyfell as his residence. He sold that home in 2012 and on the same day bought this $1 million townhouse in Norwood, half a kilometre from the Premier's electorate office.
I've not been inside. I've not been inside, but we've travelled to events together, so I picked him up, so I know approximately where it is. Don't ask me the address.
Tonight, the ABC can exclusively reveal there was no land tax levied on Terry Stevens' Norwood property last year. Mr Stevens has not responded to our question about whether he's claimed an exemption for his primary place of residence.
Will you order a full independent investigation into the country members' accommodation allowance?
Just to be clear, country members' allowances are governed by the Parliament, so it's not a matter for the government.
Today, fellow Liberal MP Fraser Ellis confirmed he's stayed at the Norwood property while Parliament is sitting.
I have stayed in the past, yeah.
Do you pay rent?
I've incurred costs my time.
No, that was not the question. Do you pay rent?
I've incurred costs down here, and I've claimed, excuse me, I've claimed the allowance in accordance with the rules.
You'd be happy for your records to be made public?
Absolutely.
While the President and the government might hope the release of expense records will put this matter to rest, it won't. The opposition is set to pursue it when Parliament resumes tomorrow.
They're not the only ones with questions.
Does Mr Stevens still have your support?
Terry's the President of the Legislative Council.
Patrick Martin, ABC News, Adelaide.
And tonight, Terry Stevens has again responded, saying he'll refer himself to the State Taxation Commissioner to review his land tax situation.